Let's get into it. Happy Sunday, guys. Are you going to watch the Super Bowl? I hear that Elon Musk, Sold Not for Sale podcast. I hear that Elon Musk, Coach Colin here. I hear that Elon Musk spent $30 to $40 million on Super Bowl ads to expose the corruption that him and his Doge team have been tackling. I don't know if it's true. Elon has been very silent about it, but can't wait to see if that's an actual thing. Now, let's get into Trump signing this executive order to ban transgender athletes from women's sports. This has been a long time coming. I'm going to be playing, I watch full videos, 40, 50, 2, 3-hour videos, so you guys don't have to. So I got the highlights. We're going to go through the intro. Then he thanks Riley Gaines. I'm going to show you what Riley Gaines actually went through, because a lot of people don't know the story, and she's become the face of this whole thing, and she was left out in the cold. Nobody was really running to defend her for quite some time. So we're going to show you that. Then we're going to move on to Trump talking about tax dollars not going towards these type of efforts anymore. And then we're going to actually watch the signing. And I thought this is something that really has to be shown, because this is a historic moment. It really is. There has been no president to stand up for women like Trump has. Although they accuse him of this and that, haven't seen any other presidents standing up for women in this way. So let's get into it.
This is a nice crowd, isn't it, huh? You've been waiting a long time for this. Yeah. So have I. Actually, it was so ridiculous. But here we are. And this doesn't have to be long. It's just all about common sense. Doesn't have to be long. In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time. Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. But before going further, I want to share some very exciting news from our military. After years of shrinking force numbers at levels that nobody has ever seen before, 4 years of this we went through, and missed recruiting targets every single month, it was just announced that in December, the U.S. Army had its single best recruitment in more than 15 years. Thanks. Every single day, nearly 350 new soldiers enlisted to defend our nation, and they're very, very happy to have done so. We've done lots of interviews, and we asked why this was taking place now, and they just said there's a spirit about our country that they haven't seen in many, many years, and I happen to agree with that. But it really is clear proof that the spirit is sweeping our armed forces, and we have a great leader in Pete. As you know, we all know Pete so well. He's going to be fantastic, and so many of our great heroes, and people are starting to understand what hero is all about. So that is something that is very important. We've gotten the woke lunacy out of our military. And now we're very importantly getting it out of women's sports. That's taking place very strongly. So in recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. You've heard a little bit about this, haven't you, huh? Just a little bit? Does anybody agree with them? No. It would be not a good thing to say yes right here. Female athletes have been forced onto the front lines, and men claiming to be girls have stolen more than 3,500 victories. That's a lot. And invaded more than 11,000 competitions designed for women. Last year, a male cyclist posing as a woman competed in the 800-mile Arizona Trail Race, a very big deal in cycling. and obliterated the women's course record by nearly 5.5 hours. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it, huh? 5.5 hours. So, but you have to hear the weightlifting records. You think that's bad. The weightlifting's worse. In 2023, a man in women's powerlifting broke 2 world records and outlifted his closest female opponent in one event by 440 pounds. And they continue to defend themselves, Mr. Congressman. You know that, right?
The laughing is crazy. By 400 and something pounds. This man decided to deadlift not only the world record weight, but he threw his 2 competitors on either side of the barbell and deadlifted them as well. It was an embarrassment for these ladies. This is ridiculous. We can't have this type of thing. Of course they did. Why would you even want to do that? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it. It's absolutely crazy to just be outlifting women like that. I should do that. Can I guess it's too late. I guess I can go to Canada and do it. I can, buddy. Listen, you can go to Canada and still smash records as a dude if you'd like. You can just take all the world records over in Canada. That's no problem. Probably some places in Europe too.
They continue to defend themselves. We hope they continue onward because I don't think we can lose a race. This was one of the big reasons that we all won, and it's one of the big reasons that we had a record, a landslide like they haven't seen before, very often anyway. And who could forget last year's Paris Olympics where a male boxer stole the women's gold medal after brutalizing his female opponent so viciously that she had to forfeit just after 46 seconds, and she was a championship fighter. And actually, they had 2 women or 2 people that transitioned, and both of them won gold medals, and they won them very convincingly. But all of that ends today because with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over.
This guy, you should have saw him. He went into the ring. It was seconds before the lady was just like, I've never been hit so hard. These hits are huge. Huge hits, hard hits. But it was pretty wild to see all of this. You know, somebody, I know this is not the Joe Rogan channel. I stay away from that content, but Joe's been talking about this for the longest time in regards to MMA. You know, there is a woman famously got into a battle with someone identifying as a woman, and she got a fractured skull. Just not what is supposed to happen between 2 women. That's not you don't hear about that with men boxing men because they're equal. It's just it's a sad turn of events. We're gonna move on to the next clip where he thanks Riley, and then we're gonna show a little bit of what Riley actually went through because a lot of people don't know that story and how it actually went down.
Identifying themselves as women athletes, try and get into the games, maybe where they are unable to get into the games. We're honored to be joined today by many incredible advocates for women's sports, including the brave swimmer at the forefront of this battle. And Riley Gaines is a person that I've been watching. Yeah. She fought hard. Riley was a 12-time All-American. Well, that's pretty good. 12-time All-American who sacrificed countless hours in the pool just for a chance at the title. It's so important to her. She gave up everything and just gave everything she had. But then the league forced her to share a spot on the podium with a male swimmer who took her trophy while the media celebrated this stolen glory. And Riley is just a tremendous athlete, and it was a very unfair situation. I watched it. A lot of people watched it. It was ridiculous, frankly. But I want to thank Riley. She really has been in the forefront. People that aren't that well versed in this would say that she was the leader. And great job, Riley. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And also with us is another great champion for women, Peyton McNabb. In high school, Peyton was a rock star athlete. Where is Peyton? Where is Peyton? I like Peyton. Nice to see you. Good job. Good job. Looks like a good athlete to me. In high school, Peyton was a rock star athlete preparing for a future in college sports. But in one volleyball match, a much taller and stronger male spiked the ball right in her face, knocking her unconscious, partially paralyzing her right side and leaving her with a traumatic brain injury. And Peyton said it was 100% avoidable if only my rights as a female athlete had been more important than a man's feelings. And we can't let it happen, and it's not going to happen. Not going to happen anymore, Peyton. It's not going to happen. Are you okay? Are you good?
I'm doing a lot better.
Good. That's good. Thank you. We're also pleased to be joined by many incredible leaders on this issue. And as I mentioned before, Speaker Mike Johnson, and he has been so strong.
That's wild. That's wild. Half the face paralyzed, partially paralyzed. Man, could you imagine you're a dad and that's what you hear happened? Whew. I don't know. Man, I don't know. You know, it's remarkable there aren't more dads in prison. Isn't it remarkable? Shouldn't the numbers should be like 75% of dads go to prison. And it's like, oh, what happened? Well, you know, somebody walked into the girls' locker room and I just told them to get my jumpsuit ready. I don't know. And it's just all dads. It should just all be dads. It's like a men's group in prison, just all dads. Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, you know, guy touched my kid. You know, I gotta. Yeah. Well, yeah, me too. I don't know. Yeah, he looked at my kid the wrong way. It should just be that in prison. You know, I only say that because I'm a dad now, and it's just like I couldn't imagine. You know. Ugh. But anyway, you know, Trump going over this whole thing with Riley Gaines, you know, Riley Gaines' situation is very odd, man. It's interesting. You know, you ever seen the movie They Live? It's like Riley Gaines was the only one with the glasses on. That's what it's like. She was the only one wearing the glasses. Nobody else had them. It was like the emperor had no clothes, and for some reason, he's in my change room in front of me and all my friends. That's exactly what it was like. Listen to her story as she actually breaks this down, because it's actually really sad when you think about it.
I had worked my entire life to get to this meet, knowing you're going against someone who, no matter what training you put in, no matter what, how talented you are, there's a certain level of advantage that you can't overcome, no matter what you do. So it almost felt as if we were going into the race with our hands tied behind our back. I can wholeheartedly attest to the tears that I saw from the 9th and 17th place finishers who missed out on being named an All-American by one place. And I can wholeheartedly attest to the extreme discomfort in the locker room when you turn around and there's a 6'4" biological male dropping his clothes fully intact with an exposing male genitalia, watching you and other girls undress. It just felt like betrayal. It felt as if the people who were supposed to be protecting us, the people who were supposed to be ensuring that we're able to compete fairly and safely, were doing everything in their power to take that away from us as female athletes. So that next day of competition was the 200 freestyle, which was the event that Thomas and I competed against each other in. We both swam in the morning, we qualified top 8, we came back that evening and we raced, and ultimately we tied. We went the exact same time down to the 100th of a second. And so we go behind the awards podium, and the NCAA official looks at both Thomas and myself, and he says, "Great job. You guys tied. We don't really account for ties, so we're going to give this trophy to Leah." And so I was, of course, taken aback by this. Leah has to hold the trophy for photo purposes. You can pose with this 6th place trophy, but you'll have to give it back. You will go home empty-handed. Leah takes the trophy home. And that is when I realized I'd had enough. I knew the unfair competition was wrong. I knew the locker room aspect was wrong. But when this official reduced everything that I'd worked, again, my entire life for, down to a photo op, to validate the feelings and the identity of a male. At the Women's National Championship, that's when I was done waiting for someone else to speak up, because truthfully, up until this point, I was waiting for a coach to say something, a parent, another swimmer, someone within the NCAA, someone with political power, someone else who was supposed to be protecting us to stand up for us. But I realized that's not what we were seeing. And it really hit me that if we as female athletes aren't willing to stick up for ourselves, how can we expect someone else to stick up for us? And that's what really pushed me over the edge into taking a public stance on saying why it's harmful to have men infiltrate into women's sports and women's spaces. This experience and really taking a public stance in just common sense, quite frankly, and the truth has drastically changed my life. I thought that at this point this year I would be in dental school. I ultimately decided to put that off this past year because I see what's at stake if someone doesn't fight for protecting women's sports. And I understand dental school will always be there, and so I've reapplied for dental school this fall. But I still don't know what my future looks like. This is something I constantly pray about. I just ask God to put me where I am needed. But my life, it's been totally flipped upside down.
Wow. Yeah, think about that. They tied. Let me go to that picture. Where's that picture there? They tie, and they just say, okay, Leia gets to hold the trophy. Leia leaves with the trophy. Basically, they're like, you tied, but you lost because it's the Biden administration. That's why you've lost, actually. And it's really, the really sad part is she's like talking about, waiting for someone to speak up and protect them, and nobody does. That's the real, that's why Trump at the beginning, he was talking about the spirit of the country. It's just different. I'm not going to play all the video for you, right? But there's a point where Trump says that he's thanking people throughout this video. There's like a big 10-minute chunk where he's thanking all the people who helped him get this type of thing done. And he even talks about how some of the people are people who went after him, during his campaign, during the Biden administration. But he says, they came together on this effort. And it's like, even those people understood that this needs to stop happening, and they felt like they couldn't take that initiative during the Biden administration. So it's like nobody could protect these girls. And the president at the time, Biden, definitely wasn't going to step up. I mean, he couldn't even step up a flight of stairs without falling down. So he definitely wasn't going to step up to something like this. And also, as I was listening to this, it's like, how funny is it that Kamala Harris was supposed to be the, first woman, and she's for women, and you're against women's safety if you don't vote for Kamala Harris. But she didn't step up during this whole time. She didn't see anything wrong with this. She was like, that's fine. She's like, what'd you say? Brain injury? Ha! Wow. That's pretty cool. Is there a video? I'll just watch. Just no problem. Face paralyzed? Wow. Okay. But it was who was it? 7-foot man. Okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. It's very interesting, the veil that gets lifted off as you see an actual president in action. And of course, I always talk about my biases. Very biased. I thought Trump should be the president, the whole time. I'm even in the camp of like, give him a third term. I don't know. He's on a roll. If this keeps up for 4 years, I don't know. Give him a fifth. See what's going on, Make him vice president. I don't know. He's doing good. What can I say? But all jokes aside, yeah, it's very sad that nobody was protecting Riley Gaines, she even talks when she was on the Joe Rogan podcast that her father really wanted to step in, but she didn't want that to happen, because of what he may have done and what could have happened to him. It's just wild. Again, it's like the emperor has no clothes, How wild is it? Shout out to Trump. He's just surrounded by women of all ages here, young, old. The fact that he keeps himself from sniffing these ladies, just wow, Because, I mean, from the last administration, it has to be hard. The fact that he's just not just in the fact that he's not just sniffing and biting shoulders and whatnot, man, wow. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? There was a president who used to just sniff people. He just used to, what? He used to just sniff people like he's Kevin Spacey on set. You know what I mean? This is wild. All right, let's get into the next part here. He's talking about no more tax dollars being given to these type of efforts.
But the actions we're taking today are the latest in a sweeping effort to reclaim our culture and our laws from the radical left crusade against biological reality. On day one, I made it official, and I'm making it official policy of the United States government that there is, two genders. We have two genders. What might they be? Man and woman, right? Male and female. Male and female. Can't think of too many others, but it's pretty amazing. I rescinded federal funds to, and this is so important, to any program that promotes transgender ideology using taxpayer dollars. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it.
Solid. It's crazy that all these girls that are in the background here, Trump, everybody, for saying this just 3 months ago, 4 months ago, if you said something like this, you were just completely, it was terrible what would happen to you. I mean, the whole time Riley Gaines was putting up this good fight, she was being blasted in the mainstream media. She was branded as a hateful person. There were protests where she even got attacked. This is wild. That's the part of the country that needs to heal over. The fact that these girls wouldn't be able to do this before. They would be scared to have their faces on camera before. Now they're all fine. It's interesting how many things change as the leader changes. They would have got attacked before, and the former president would have just kind of sat back and just been like, yeah, well, no room for hate in society. It's very interesting, man. Anyway, let's move on to the actual historical moment. Trump sits down and actually signs this executive order
Today. And I'm going to sign the executive order right now, and everything I said will go into effect immediately, okay? Thank you.
There's no sniffing, just pointing at them, just saying things to them.
If you'd like to gather around me, I think I'm going to be okay. Come on. Secret Service is worried about them? If we have to worry about them, we have big problems. Okay, do you want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? Are you ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature, because this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
Pretty good, huh? Okay? Good. Now you're going to go out and win those events, right? Good. Nice to see you all. Great going, everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you, kids. Here, take a pen. I'll give some of these out, okay? Take a pen.
He actually gives the exact pen that he used to sign the order to Riley Gaines, which is amazing. Amazing for Riley Gaines. I can only imagine what that feels like. A lot of these kids don't even realize what these pens are worth. I mean, these pens could get you at least a couple $1,000s. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. They could get that little box of pens right there. Get you some stacks. I'm just saying, put a down payment on a house with a few of those pens in your hand. You know what I mean? Very, very historical moment though, man. Good stuff. You know, finally, right? And you know what? It's always the things I posit here because Riley Gaines is right back there. You know, she is now a voice for this whole thing. Like, you know, she's going to go to dental school and everything, I'm sure. But, you know, I could see her easily getting a job at Fox. I could see her getting a job at some kind of outlet now. You know, the fact that she spoke out, that she fought for so long, so hard, you know, from being on Rogan, being on Fox, being on, you know, a lot of major news outlets and a lot of podcasts, you know, it takes a certain amount of darkness for certain things to come to light, you know? And she would have never been on this path if the former administration wasn't allowing this and she felt so unprotected, you know? So there's always a silver lining, and it's great to see. And then, like, look at her. Like, she went from, who is this guy in my change room? Why is this guy here? You know, why can I see everything? What's going on? To now she's being mentioned by the president. The president of the United States is thanking her for her fight. You know, amazing journey, just amazing. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to show you that historical moment. February 5th, 2025. History was made. The only sad thing is, when it comes to these executive orders, is that somebody could come in next, you know. I think Republicans are going to win again. I think for sure that's going to happen. But even down the line, somebody could come in and be like, let's undo these executive orders. There's some that I think, I guess they got to be made into laws. There's just nothing you can do about that. That's just the way it works if you want to do things the right way. But I just feel like some of these executive orders shouldn't be undone. Some of what Trump is doing is putting the country back in a good standing. And the fact that someone else could come in and undo it, you know, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Like, right now, it's protecting women. It's protecting these young girls. It's making sure that they don't go through terrible things in their change rooms. It's making sure that they don't go through, you know, getting a ball spiked in your face and, you know, having it partially paralyzed because of how hard somebody did it. Skull fractures, etc., etc. And somebody could come in and be like, nah, let's undo it. And then that person still gets to be in power. I just think, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if somebody comes in and undoes that, they're saying that they don't want this class of, you know, they don't want women protected. So there should be, you know, sometimes some things should go back to the old days. You know what I mean? If you decided that you weren't going to protect the people, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there. I want to say something so bad, but for some reason YouTube doesn't like when you use that word, that T word. And it's not trans. I'm not talking about trans. Anyways, guys, history was made. Donald Trump did it. President Trump did it. And like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Sunday today, let's see if Elon Musk actually drops these ads like he's supposed to. And for those of you that don't want to watch and you've been watching until this point, Eddie Bravo interview is coming out today. I'm going to make sure of it because I want the interviews to start being shown here. I might even grab the Jimmy Dore interview I did, put it on here because I really want the interviews to start coming out on here. All right. Anyways, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Other than that, I'm out.